Oh, blessed love my family. Give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life, Emperor Haile Selassie the First. Definitely, you don't even have to ask what is taking place here. Family, it's tonight. Tonight is Fairy Tale Folly Days and Nursery Crimes, the Firing Squad edition. I'm telling you, I'm very thankful for all of you who already purchased your spot, who will be there with us. Let me just remind you, we're going to have an early version of the Tiger's Nest at 6 Eastern Caribbean time on Radio Anu. So at 7, we can cross over specifically for all of you who will be definitely sitting in with us for Fairy Tale Folly Days and Nursery Crime. And of course, tomorrow night, I mean, everything is one. It's the Santa Claus Massacre. And don't forget on Sunday evening, oh, I'm talking about the Granddaddy, Haile Selassie, Rastafari, and Freemasonry. So family, if you have not received your ticket for tonight, trust me, now is the time to do it. Now is the time to go to the website, specifically Priest Isaac Institute.com. You can go to the page marked on lecture room, and you can go and you purchase your ticket for tonight there, or you could just email me, Priest Isaac Institute at gmail.com, and say, hey, Priest, I would like the ticket for tonight. Please hold and reserve my spot because I would like to be there to hear what's going on with the cartoons. But listen, family, what I'm going to do right now, I'm actually going to revisit one of our ancient programs. I did this program about, don't tell no one, about 4 years ago, maybe 5. This is going in deep to the science, deeper than I even thought when I was listening to it again, as it relates to Snow White and Rose Red. Listen, family, I'm not going to even go too deeper into that. All I want you to do is listen to this, but even before that, go and purchase a ticket. Make sure you have your spot ready for tonight. Bring your children tonight, family. It's going to be a wonderful sit down. Don't underestimate what's going on, not because it's cartoons. In fact, tell you what, if for some reason you may be misguided about the levels we're going tonight, and you should not be, because I mean, even the preparation programs we were doing to get you here, you're supposed to be able to see that, hey, this is some serious science. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to revisit an ancient program I did on the shock of the hour. I want you to, listen to this, and I'm going to hold a meds and guide you through and tell me what you think.
If you're nothing wrong is to be frank, If you're a Frenchman, then you can be frank.
I hear you.
But I mean, I'm not no Frenchman, so I cannot be frank.
All right, but let's hear you.
So I'm just showing you that when you look into the whole science of it, there's a deep understanding here. This is basically the historical account where the story evolved from.
Listen to this, family.
Developed into, maybe I should say.
This is the truth.
So that is why now you get another account now, the Greek account of Joey, if that is the correct term there.
Listen, family.
And she now.
Wow.
The gods Mercury and who it was, Apollo, fell in love with her.
Listen.
And she also went into a spell. And they couldn't wake her up, and they both had their way with her. No, that is, just check that out. So the gods had their way with her. That means they took her while she was asleep, and you could say raped her, if you want to call it that, and then went their way. One after the other. I just want you to keep this in mind. This is some serious stuff. So then when she woke up and she found out that, they had their way with her, she was delighted. Oh yeah, man, she was having a ball over that. She had sexual intercourse with the gods. So then technically that cannot be rape then. Because whether she was conscious or unconscious, even the afterthought, they had her consent. So she said she was more of a goddess than the goddess Diana. Michael Jackson sing about her. And then Diana said, yeah. Then Diana came with a bow and arrow and struck the Joanie, the would-be Snow White, in the tongue and lick her out. Now that obviously is a little bit outside of history. That's for sure can't be no history. Because the science of it now is a science that you could find in other places. And I'll show you what I mean. Because I mean, she was asleep. We're going to go into other things where you see that same pattern repeating itself. But before we go into those patterns that repeat themselves, we can mention, some of the patterns that we know.
Listen.
Now, some people may be offended right off the bat.
It's okay.
But if you look into the story of Lot and his two daughters, there's a pattern there of one person, whether it be father, brother, whatever. But there's this pattern of one person having sexual intercourse with two individuals. One evening and one the other evening. That's Lot and his daughters. Whether you think that's nasty and whatever, yeah, we can go into that, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm trying to let us concentrate on the first series that we did, or the series prior to this, our symbolic writings. From you understand that series, we shouldn't even be wasting time trying to break down anything. So Lot now, according to that allegory, had sexual intercourse, imagine that, with his daughters, one evening and the other evening, because he was drunk. And that drunk thing is a big thing. I mean, in all these mythos, brother, all of them, you can just think of it from the Far East African, Northeast African, there's this science of the God figure getting drunk, yeah. And sometimes being drunk with the blood of the wicked and all kind of thing. It's poetry. Remember the video we even did on YouTube with Prince Hermes Sahali Selassie and the whole concept of the Bible. You should check it if you didn't see that. The oldest Bible, Ethiopian Bible. That's the name of the video. And Prince Hermes Haile Selassie. You should check that. So that brings out that whole science of the allegory. So I'm just saying now to that, I'm adding to that the same thing you could see in this Greek Snow White figure.
Listen good, family.
How she slept with one god one night,
Hear this.
unknowing to her, because it was unknowing to Lot.
Hear this.
How she slept with one god one night and the other god the other night came. So, because that's a pattern, that's the routine of the mythos, and even though it was handed down, or even if it was stolen, because there are stolen cases like what we're talking about here, them is stolen stories. But then in ancient Africa, we hand down stories too. Sometimes the name may change, but the story basically remains the same. So this is why you can understand how this has come in and crept into even the mythology of the enemy. And the enemy would say, make no bones about that. I don't know about you and them bones, brother, cause yeah. So typology again, in the main creation story, especially the creation story, if I'm not mistaken, it's of the fifth world. I think one of the gods was shot through his tongue by an arrow by one of the ancient mother goddesses of the cosmos. That's in the main creation story. And there's a pretty little documentary in animated form that even your children can watch on the YouTube, entitled The Fifth Son, which goes into the whole story of the Popol Vuh and the creation story basically in Quetzalcoatl, you know, and these other characters that form.
Let me say something here. As I said, this was a program that was done some time ago. So I'm going to skip that part and get to some more information here that I want you to take in. Follow good.
And again, no need to argue that, hey, Esau
Follow.
and Jacob, that Esau is spelled E-S-A-U.
Talking
That's how
Bible
you
now.
spell that Esau, E-S-A-U.
Same subject.
Okay. Okay. Well, you just spell Esau, I-S-A. That ain't Esau. That's Esau. All right. I-S-A is Esau is the Yeshua in the Arabic tongue. Wow. This is deep science, man. All of this is poetry. This is allegory. So this is why now, when Esau approached Isaac, which I-S-A-A-C, Isaac, I-S-A, is Esau as well, eh? Yeah, so Esau, E-S-A-U, approached his father and wanted, you know, to be blessed. And Isaac said, look, I'm going to bless you before I move on, but I need some vengeance. According to the story, Isaac was blind, and as we explained in some other previous program not too long ago, that whole blind science is deep. You know, Ra gave up his eyes. Horus the blind, Eli the blind when he made Samuel and passed on the priesthood basically to a next entity.
Esoteric.
Isaac here the blind and Jacob blind to the point that in certain ranks of Freemasonry, that is actually a title. Gregory the blind, and approaching the podium, Julius the blind. And that doesn't mean that the fella is blind.
I tell you.
You know?
Yes,
But this science about the blind.
Of
because
course.
it's coming from the occult, if you want to refer to it as.
Yes, sir.
Joseph the Bald.
Imagine that.
All them kind of names there. It's coming from somewhere else.
Tell him, brother.
Yeah.
Listen.
So you gotta go through Boaz and Jachin to get this properly understood. I'm saying all of this to say, and all of that, even Boaz and Jachin, the pillars. I'm saying all of that to say that this whole double science of the twin, not just the twins now, that the red and hairy one, listen to this, the red and hairy one, the one that's red and hairy, who is Esau, he went to get the vengeance. He went to kill the deer. And I wonder if I can get everything in this tonight. I'm going to try. I don't want to stop this and give a next. I mean, we're going to have other parts to this, but there's certain things I want all of it in this tonight. So yeah, all of it I want in it. So I want you to hold on now, because we're going to go and we're going to flow, and I don't want to stop. Good. So Esau, he's the one that went to kill the deer. That's the vengeance he went for, to stew up a vengeance. They say better than that. Nobody can cook this deer water better than him. But his mother had something in mind. She was going to cook some goat water. This is very important. Don't lose this. So she called Jacob now, the one that was not red and hairy. Who? The one that was not red and hairy. And she said to Jacob, listen to this, brother. Tonight we ain't playing around. You see a brother gonna look for the deer, so before he kill Bambi, look what we gonna do here. I have 2 little kids behind here. We're gonna slew them. Oh, mom, you can't kill these children. Not them kind of kids. Goats I talking about. I have 2 little goats behind here. We're gonna slew them. I'm gonna take it and make some goat water, and you're gonna take the skin and put it on and approach your father and pretend to be a brother. But mommy, remember, for me to do that, the skin of the goat would have to dry. I mean, don't worry about that, my lord. You don't have to dry. This is an allegory. This is not real life. So what is going to happen? We're going to kill the goat. And we're going to cook up some goat water. and you're going to put on the skin and go before Isaac. So that's what Jacob did, and Isaac was blind. So Jacob came with the goat water, not venture now, goat water, and said, well, Daddy, I have the thing here, you know. Who are you? It's me, Esau. Esau? And he touched him up and said, well, you feel like Esau, but you sound like Jacob. You feel like Esau, but you sound like Jacob. And he ate the meat and he blessed Jacob. He blessed Jacob. He blessed Jacob. When Esau came, he fell down at the feet of and said, oh my, what happened? He said, boy, too late.
Yes,
And when you read that story, you don't get the impression as if Isaac was sorry at all. Like, oh my, man. And Jacob, what did you do to me? Man, he said, well, boy, too late, boy. Where were you? Yeah. So I'm just showing you now the whole cosmos, the science there. Very important. Because he was red and hairy. That's the science with Adam. Adam was red and hairy. What? Adam was red, not hairy necessarily. But Adam was red. The red man. The red man. But the hairy is really symbolic of the human form. And again, we went through this part.
Listen.
Symbolic writings. So I'll just touch it quickly. Remember the whole science of the fire leaving the heavens and touching the water, and it turned red. I'm sure you remember that. Okay. Remember the star falling from the heights, from the exosphere, hitting the lakes and the ponds, and they turned to blood. You remember all of that. Good. Remember the souls were under the altar. Follow me. And they begged the angel that was on the altar to send them back to earth to avenge their death. And the angel said, hold on, I'm going to carry up a service. And when he finished, he put the coals on the altar and he flinged the coals to the earth and he hit the water. It turned to blood, turned bitter like wormwood. That's symbolic. That's the same souls that were under the altar that get cast down. That is symbolic of the spirits. That is symbolic of the life force, your soul, leaving the heavenly chambers and coming through your mother's womb. That's why the water, specifically the sea water, that has the same salinity. Don't lose it. Remember, go back to the works or go forward. Return to what we have done before. Even on YouTube, you can find these same exact words and replay them and get it properly, because we're just skipping here. The salinity of the seawater is the very same as that as your blood. So the seawater, which is a part of you, became blood. When the life force hit the womb of your mother and you came out as a red man and hairy, a human being. Because you're not that body that you're in, Yeah, not even the goodie. Yeah, you don't have no soul. You are a soul. You have a goodie. Yeah, so you utilize this goodie now that born, the 16th day of June, 19, just pull some date out the sky. Yeah. And that will pass on the 20th day of some other day and pull the next date out of the sky. But you'll always be there. So that's the red man. That's the hairy man. Jacob now is the spirit. Jacob represents the spirit. Jacob is the unseen. So that's why Jacob, that's why he could put on the flesh, put on the skin of Esau. That is why Adam, when they say he so-called fell, the red man, when he went down out to the garden and went to farm the farm, he wasn't farming nothing in the garden. It was a garden, but now he gone on the farm because he fell. Have to toe and hoe and all them kind of things. What happened when he went down? He had to kill a goat too and put on its skin. He had to sacrifice the goat, kill a goat, put on his skin. Then is science, the same Isaac, Isaac. His father Abraham nearly cut his throat. But because all of this is science. So even the same man story that people propagandize the man's, talking about how they were so savage and how much people they killed. It's because you cannot read what they have written. Yeah, and sacrifice them in altars because you cannot read what they have written. So I'm just saying all that to say. That's why we point out that the Christ Esau Isa, which is its Arabic name, Isa the Christ. That character, an example, simply means as the feathered snake, the spirit of the ultimate all in all in a human form. That's why he's the Isa. That's what Isa is. Isa that came before his father, Isa, AC, Isaac. That Isa that went and looked for the deer. His brother, which represents the spirit and the life force and the soul, put on the goat's skin, which means he became a human being. Because Adam, when he came from the heavenly place, he put on skin in the typology I'm talking about, and came before his father to get blessed. That is Jacob. Jacob came as Esau. He came as a being, came now to get the blessing. That's what happened. That's the Christ being. They say Christ is God the Son. So that's the living being, the living nucleus of life that come as a human being amongst you. Esau. Jacob in skin, in the goat skin, red and hairy, the red man. You got to have gotten that by now. So that's the science being portrayed in Snow White, particularly Walt Disney's version of the story. Because I'm trying to show you that the person that you're looking at on Walt Disney's Snow White is not Snow White. That is not Snow White. That's Red Rose. Or Rose Red, pardon. That's Rose Red. So where's Snow White? That's Rose Red. That's the red one. So where's the white one? Where did she go? This is a deep science. And that whole thing about the twins. And that whole thing about her being red. You think Walter Disney don't understand that? That alone is water talking there. That's why I show you the mouse ears. The ears of Mickey Mouse looks like H2O, because we're dealing with the science of water. Take the L out, you get, or put the L in, you do get the Walter. And it's the fire that touched the water that turns this red. So I'm just showing you now that that's why she's called Snow White, because Snow White is there somewhere, but where? I'm looking at Rose Red, but where's Snow White? Why call her Snow White and you're looking at Rose Red? What did Isaac say when Jacob appeared to him, dressed like Esau, dressed like the red one? Isaac said, well, although they say he's blind, but even if he could see, he said, well, you even look like Esau, or Esau, the Christ. You look like Esau, you look like the human being, but you sound like the spirit of life. You sound like the Holy One. You sound like Jacob. Is Jacob a hearing? Well, you look like almost any regular person. You're a red man. You have on the goat skin. You're red and hairy, but you sound like the supreme. That's the science. So you're looking at Rose Red, but calling her Snow White. So what else does that mean then? What Walt just flipped and didn't understand what he's doing until it's no mistake that Pinocchio, all of these are God figures, all of this dead and coming back to life, and this is not just his idea. From the Brothers Grimm and beyond, that whole science obviously could be seen even before Walt Disney was born. He just continued that tradition into another form. Into another form. Lisa, Isa, yikes.
Cinderella.
Who?
In the original Brothers Grimm version, one of the evil stepsisters cuts off her own toes in order to fit into the tiny glass slipper where the prince is notified by little doves that they...
No, you see that. So in Cinderella, one of the stepsisters cut off her toe. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a European tale, and that's not too hard to believe that the Europeans would do something like that. I'm just being straight, eh? You can say what you want. But again, if you take your time and search, you might find something similar to this in some myths that may be even older than this. But let's just follow this. Wow.
There is blood on the shoe. He eventually discovers that the true owner is Cinderella. Once the stepsisters realise she'll be queen, they then try to curry favour with Cinderella, but when they attend the wedding, their eyes are pecked out by birds. Also, in the original Grimm story, Cinderella does not have a fairy godmother, but...
Okay, before we go to the fairy godmother, so when they went to the wedding, their eyes were pecked out by birds, so they blind now. The two of them, they blind. The stepsisters. This is what I'm trying to tell you. The power's being passed on. So now when they went to her wedding, Cinderella wedding, their eyes were pecked out by birds. Wow.
Plants a tree by a mother's grave and prays every day. She is still helped by animals, though specifically birds, not mice. Also, she doesn't just look.
Yes, family, give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life. Eh? As I said, family, definitely we have much more in store for you. We're going to be taking it on another level tonight, honestly. Trust me, I really want you to bring the young ones to this. Let me show you a little secret. If not tomorrow night, make sure you bring the little ones tonight. For sure, I'm talking about Fairytales, Holidays, and Nursery Crimes, the Firing Squad edition. Yes, family, we are preparing, putting ourselves together. Remember, this lecture is going to be myself, the princess, and the prince. So it's going to be a grand sit down. Looking forward to you tonight. And of course, remember tomorrow evening, the 23rd, Santa Claus Massacre. And of course, we're talking about the 26th, Haile Selassie Rastafari and Free Masonry. And remember, at the same time as I am saying that the Tiger's Nest will be aired at 6 this evening, again on Radio Anu, that's 6 this evening, to prepare us all, make way for our 7 o'clock lecture. So 6 this evening. And yeah, that's about it. Just go to the website and definitely make your payment. Love you, family. Give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life, King Selassie, Jah Rastafari. It is the best. Oh, yeah.